I know that I'm early. I'm aware that I'm way too early to be filming this video, but I don't give a damn. It is the time of the year to talk about my favorites. All the books that I read in 2023 that became my ride or fucking dies. The books that breathed life and oxygen into my fucking dead, stale lungs. Just like every other year, when it comes to my favorite videos, I don't just read new releases every year. I read whatever tickles my dick. So some of these books may have been released this year, some of them may have gone viral this year, or they could have been released 7 years ago. Like, you never know when it comes to me. I feel like this year with reading was so hard. It was a year that tested me for sure. I went through ebbs and flows of enjoying reading and being slumpy, and it was just a wild time. So I don't have a ton of favorites because I was dipping my feet and toes into all different genres and also sub-genres of romance to try and find my spark again because I was suffering from postpartum depression. I've been gushing about these books all year, so a lot of these you will not be shocked by. So without further ado, my boo, let's talk about my favorites. I'm in my pajamas too, by the way, like literally no bra on, in my PJs. Did my hair and makeup though, that's what counts. The first book I discovered this year and fell in love with was a new author that I discovered, which I fucking love. I love finding new authors and new books, and at the time, this wasn't as popular as it is now. I did have this book recommended to me by someone, but this author definitely kicked off this year. We're talking about Hawk by Jessie Hall. Jessie Hall is one of my new favorite authors. I absolutely love her writing style and her plots. There's something so fresh and new about her. She knows how to write angsty, forbidden, dark romance with a lot of emotion, perfect smart, the most delicious heroes ever. I haven't read a book from her that I have thought, this is similar to someone else. She's in her own league and I love that for her. So Hawk is one of my favorites of this year. I did love Kid as well, but I really wanted to narrow down my list and think, okay, did I really love this book or did I like this book? Though I loved Kid, Hawky boo, Hawky hawk hawk hawk. He got me fluttering. He got me thinking sexual things and feeling sexual feelings. Like, he was an absolute vibe. So Hawk is about this girl who's in a relationship, trigger warning, cheating. She's with this like Bible bashing dude, and don't take offense to that, but you know, she's with one of those dudes. She's in this really weird stage of her life where she's still trying to figure out who she is, what she wants from life, when in walks Hawk, an ex-con that's just been released from prison that her boyfriend has said is staying with them. It was so good. Like, I just loved this book so much, and it really rekindled my flame for reading romance this year, and I needed that. Before Us by Julie Ann. This book is so good. All of them are so good, but this one was an emotional roller coaster that I enjoyed so much. Every minute of reading this book, I was in heaven, like nirvana, bitch. Julie Ann, again, was a new author that I hadn't read before. Not a new author on the scene, but I had never read her before. I picked this up randomly and I couldn't tear my eyes away. It was beautifully heartbreaking, smutty. It was all the things. Like, I read predominantly darker romance, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm really into paranormal right now, but I love a good heart-wrenching contemporary, okay? I love it, I love it, I love it. We're dealing with a heroine who is homeless, she's struggling, and she gets this job for this married couple as like a cleaner, and once she begins this job, she realizes that the wife is actually dying of cancer, and she ends up building this really beautiful, authentic, organic, just stunningly precious relationship with this wife. This couple just represents the love that she's always dreamt of but doesn't think she'll ever experience for herself. That is all I'm gonna say. If you want to cry your eyes out and want to be thrown through a loop, this is for you. Beautiful cover too. I do have the paperback here. I was going to show it, but I'll just insert the image here. It is a stunning cover. I love the ombre pink orange cloud stitch. It's a really good book and you need to read it like right this fucking second. This year I found myself really diving into thrillers, and I discovered that I love a good thriller. I can't read thrillers back to back because it messes with my mind, but if I'm feeling mentally kind of drained and exhausted, the last thing I want to read is a romance. And that's where I found my new love for thrillers. So The Housemade popped off big time this year, and I also read it this year. I saw it floating around and I thought, okay, let me have a whirl at this, because Verity by Colleen Hoover is one of my favorite books of all time. And I had been told that this was very similar kind of to Verity. Like, if you love Verity, you'll love The Housemade. And oh my fucking God, earth-shaking shit for me, all right? Earth-shaking shit for me. I stayed up all night reading this. I didn't see the plot twist. It was just fast-paced, creepy. It gave me the adrenaline that I want from a thriller. It gave me all the feels, and I was right where I wanted to be when I was reading this. We've got a heroine who has a deep, dark secret, okay? And she's looking for a new job, and she gets hired by this wife who wants her to be like an in-house maid. So she ends up moving into this house and living upstairs in the attic. And this attic is like really creepy, and it's not the right vibe, bitch. Like, if I walked into that attic, I would have been like, take your job and stick it right up your ass, bitch. See ya. The wife and her hit it off, but once she moves in, the wife ends up being really weird, really creepy, and all these things start happening around the house. Please read this if you haven't already. I'm sure you've read it. It did go viral this year. It's in every store you can think of, bookstore, local bookstore, indie bookstore, Big W, like it's everywhere, for good reason. I did read The Housemaid's Secret, but I didn't love that one as much as this one. I'm intrigued about the third book, but this one still, I think, will always take the cake because it just blew my fucking mind. Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan came out last year, like it was a release in 2022, and I wasn't able to get around to reading it during my pregnancy and becoming a new mum, so I picked it up this year, and this book is so special to me. I read this in a really dark time of my life. Like, as I've mentioned on my channel, I did go through postpartum depression, and the first 6 months of my baby's life was very difficult. It was a difficult transition for me, and I struggled a lot. I ain't gonna lie. And I struggled a lot because I couldn't mentally read. Like, my mind was so preoccupied with everything I was feeling and going through and raising my child and getting used to caring for a baby that my mind physically couldn't read. But then I stumbled across this book, and it was a book that I was able to read during this period of time. And there's so many things in this book that I related to, even though I'm not a black woman who's going through a divorce, who has suffered a loss. I related because when you become a mother, you do lose who you are, and you have to grieve that person and the life that you had before. And even though you're so grateful and thankful for being in the position that you are in, to have a child and to have this life and to build your own family, it is a very hard pill to swallow to look back at the past and realize you don't connect with that person anymore. That book really just helped me through that transition, and I feel like the heroine, Yasmin, and I don't know, I just connected with her on a personal level. And this sounds so like sappy and weird for a fictional book, but this is the shit that makes my heart beat, man. This is why I love romance. I don't just love romance for the smut and the darkness. I love the psychological aspect and how you can feel like you're not alone during periods of your life because of the fictional characters written inside a paperback. Like, that's what I live for. Kennedy is the type of author that does that to me every time. I haven't read anything from her that hasn't melted into my heart and found its own little place, you know what I mean? Every book I read from her, I carry with me, like, emotionally for the rest of my fucking life. I'm a sucker for marriage and trouble, so when I found out that this was about a married couple that have already divorced, and that's where the book starts, I was sold, instantly sold. I loved so much about this book. I did, and I cannot wait for the second book, which is coming out in 2024. There's a lot of books last year I missed out on because of my pregnancy, and just, you know, last year was a write-off, just kind of like the first half of this year was. But I finally started the Salacious Club series by Sarah Kate, and Give Me More is one of my favorite books in the series. I love a throuple, bitch, okay? Two guys, one girl, I'm here for it. I loved that there was a lot of sexual exploration in this book. Discovering the dynamic of this relationship, it was smutty beyond belief, but it also had like heartfelt moments. That is like the ideal cocktail I want with my romances. Give me the smut, give me the drama, give me the angst, but also give me the feels. Chuck some feels in the cup, bitch, and stir. If you haven't read the Salacious Club, pretty much it's kind of like the Voyeur series by Fiona Cole. If you've read that, you know what I'm talking about. It's based around a sex club. Every book is about a different couple. So we've got a companion novel series, and every character is kind of connected to the sex club in one way or the other, and each story is really different, exploring different kinks, and I just love a sex club. I just love one. I just want to go to one. You know what I mean? Like, I just love this book so much, as well as The Highest Bidder, which is also one of my favorites of this year. This book reminded me so much of Hush Hush by Lucia Franco, and that's my favorite book ever. But we're not dealing with a sex worker, okay? So we've got an age gap relationship, okay? We've got a sugar daddy, okay? We've got a silver fox on our hands, and a young girl who is kind of wondering why this dude left her money and what the relationship this dude had with her mother. She ends up trying to get close to him to figure these answers out. He doesn't quite know who she is yet, but along the way, they end up falling for each other, and it is the best fucking time ever. This series in general is one of my favorite series I have read over the past couple of years. Like, I'm not really a series gal anymore. I struggle a lot connecting with a whole series of characters, but this one, top tier, baby. It's right up the top. You guys knew that this one was coming. If you watch all my videos, you knew this was coming. Torment by Dylan Page. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. This book, it started a thing. It like rebirthed my love for dark romance. And this is dark beyond belief. Like, trigger warnings galore. I'm not a trigger warning hoe, but this book definitely needs them, and it's not a light-hearted read whatsoever. There's no other way of explaining this, but when I read this book, I was transported into this story, and I was reminded why I ever picked up a romance book in the first place. Mila and Shay have the most intense relationship ever, and it's a relationship that I constantly think about. Like, this book is definitely a Roman Empire book. I think about it often. So we're dealing with a step-sibling relationship. It's very taboo, set in the motorcycle club world. So if you're into taboo romances that are definitely more dark, then this is for you. I don't want to say anything because it's the type of book that you can't have spoilers to. You just simply can't, because it will ruin the entire experience. But when I read it, I popped off on every platform. I posted on here, Instagram, my Facebook page. I even made TikToks about it, and I'm not a TikToker, girl. I'm not a TikToker. I watch it, but I don't film TikToks of myself. But I did for this book because I was like, this is exactly what I've been looking for. I was in such a downward spiral bad place with dark romance. Like, everything I was picking up, I was like, it all sounds the same. And then I came across this, and it just revitalized me. Is that the right word? I think so. Untouchable was another one. Hands down, best bully romance I have ever read, and I cannot believe it took me like 3 years to read this. No, what the hell? It really made me open my eyes up to looking at older books and not just focusing on all the new releases, because this year I felt a lot of pressure to read all the books that everyone else is reading. You know, there's a lot of BookTok and BookTube creators now, and the same kind of books are getting recycled. This is what you should be reading right now. This is what's getting released. This is what they're loving right now. And I tend to fall into that, and then I lose my passion for reading. But then I came across this, and I was like, I need to start going through the backlists. I need to start pulling out the books that I wanted to read 5 years ago and didn't, because that is where my heart is at. This type of shit is so good. Carter is one of my favorite book boyfriends ever. When I do a new book boyfriend video, he will be number fucking 1. Don't get fooled by the opening scene of this book, okay? We're dealing with a sexual assault situation, okay? It's dark. It's a dark bully romance. High school bully romance too, which is usually not my cup of tea, but it was with this one. And I honestly almost DNF'd it, because that first scene, I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. This dude is not going to be able to redeem himself, but he did in the best way possible, and I think about him all the time. I want my own Carter. Don't Let Her Stay is another thriller that was on my radar that I devoured. If you like Verity, Housemade, this one's for you. We've got a new mum in the trenches of motherhood, man. She's going through postpartum, and her husband's older daughter from a previous marriage moves in, and there's some tension. There's some weird shit. Shit's not quite right. This was a whirlwind, and I have to thank TikTok for this one, because I found it on TikTok and it blew me away. I read it in one sitting, and it was just such a good time. I love a good quick thriller, one that just like completely consumes you, and you're just in it, and you're just like, what the fuck's going on, bitch? What's going on? I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And then you finish it. And then you move on to a cutesy or a dark romance. Like, it's just a perfect concoction, bitch. The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. Yeah, girl, this book is so good. This is what I wanted Dear Aaron by Mariana Zapata to be, okay? I read that a couple of years ago and I had to DNF it because I was like, snooze, you lose. But this one, so good. Really emotional. It's a pen pal relationship between a man in the military and a single young mom back in the States. That's all I'll say. You'll cry your fucking eyes out, okay? I was crying within 30%. Not even. 15. I was like, what is going on? How dare you make me cry? I'm not game enough for this. I'm not ready for this. But it was a gorgeous experience, I must say. The last letter was really good. I loved it. It was just a really good romance. Like, it wasn't dark and it wasn't all the things I usually like. It was just one of those stock standard, kind of like Before Us. A contemporary romance that gave me all the feels. Made me swoon, made me sad, made me angry. Like, I love books like that. We got a mafia man on my mind, baby. A mafia man on my mind. Deviant Hearts by Jagger Cole. Yeah, baby. Okay. This series is phenomenal. I've only read 2 books, but you know that in 2024, I'll be slapping them all out. A male author that is doing the absolute most, writing masculine mafia man. I'm here for it. I loved this so much. I haven't come across a mafia book in a long time. Okay, a long time that made me feel the way that this one did. It gave me all the luxurious vibes. I was getting all the feels. I was swooning, gagging, choking, throwing up, pissing my pants, bitch. I was even shitting myself. It was that good, and I just loved every minute of it. It's a stock standard kind of trope situation. Enemies to lovers, arranged marriage, set in New York City between 2 different mafias. We've got the Irish and the Greek. Yes. So yeah, good times and great classic hits. This one, honestly, top tier mafia. Loved every minute of it, and it's a recent favorite, which I enjoyed. Lucky last, we have this series that I recently fucking gushed over. I did a whole video talking about this author and her books that I have read. And this, oh, The Sins of the Fallen series. Book 1 is Touched by Sin by Harley Beck. It has been years. When I say years, I mean it. And I haven't felt this way about a series since like Elite Kings Club or something, like back in the day, baby. Like, it's been such a long time. This is a paranormal romance about fallen angels. We're dealing with an angel in Eden, baby, that goes outside the gates. She finds 3 fallen angels and the game is over, bitch. She's in it with them. They're in her. Like, it's a whole situation. It's very smutty at the beginning, but once the plot kicks in, you're like, whoa, this slaps. Like, this is fucking epic. So good. And that's all I'm going to say, because I've already ranted and raved about this so much. But we're dealing with like a waichus romance as well. So that's new to me. I don't like waichus. And since reading this, all I've wanted to read is waichus. So you know, 2024, I'll be coming at you with the best waichus I've read. Okay? I'll be delving into that in the new year for sure. But Harley Beck was a new author that I found as well, and she's so good. She's so good. She's very dark, and she does write horror erotica as well, which I did read one of her horror erotica novels and I really liked it. Not my favorite of the year, but it was very up there. It could have been for sure. I just wanted to round down my list. But yeah, Harley Beck is an author that you should not be sleeping on, and I love her. And she is a subscriber of mine. She's been watching me for years, and I just love that. I love you, bitch. Thank you for watching me and supporting me, and I hope I can return the favor because you fucking deserve it. Limelight needs to be on you, baby. The limelight needs to be on you. So they're all my favorites from 2023. Let's hope that I don't find any new favorites in December. I doubt that I will. I doubt that I will. But if I do, you'll see them in my December reading wrap up. I still have to film my November reading wrap up. I'm a little early with this video, but we're just going to do the damn thing, you know what I mean? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tell me your favorite. What is your #1 favorite of this year? I need to know, because if I haven't read it, I need to read it. Okay, I need to read it. These books were just my whole entire life this year, and I'm so happy that I found them. And I'm so happy to be where I am mentally now that I'm out of the trenches of postpartum. My God, guys. No one warned me about that. I can't wait to bring you guys new recs in the new year and just keep doing this thing, no matter if 100 people watch it or 10,000. You know what I mean? Like, I am here to connect with you, and I'm so excited for the new year and new content and new books and just reading my little brains out. I hope you guys have a good day wherever you are. I really appreciate every view that you've given me this year, honestly, because, you know, The times are changing with social media. I know a lot of people don't even watch booktube anymore or watch YouTube in general. So the ones that are here and that have stayed and are still watching me, honestly, I owe you big time. Thanks guys so much for watching. It means the world to me, and I'll see you soon. Bye.